This is Learn English with Ease.
English made powerful, simple, and yours.
Hello and welcome back to Learn English with Ease. This channel is for people who understand English, who can follow conversations, who know what others are saying, but feel something change inside when it's their turn to speak. Your mind becomes louder. Your body becomes tense. And suddenly, English feels heavier than it should. Most people think the solution is more grammar, more vocabulary, or more rules. But for most learners, the real problem is not knowledge. It's pressure. You're not trying to sound smart. You're trying to sound calm. Calm enough to speak without panic. Calm enough to not rush your words. Calm enough to feel like yourself. If that describes you, subscribe to this channel. Everything here is built for English that feels human, usable, and real in everyday life.
Today we're talking about simple English phrases that help your mind stay calm when you speak. These are not advanced expressions. They don't make you sound perfect. They make you sound relaxed. And relaxed speakers always sound more confident than perfect ones. If you've ever known exactly what you wanted to say, but felt frozen when the moment came, stay with us all the way through. The final phrase in this episode completely changes how people feel about making mistakes in English.
Let's start with a moment every English learner knows very well. Someone asks you a question in English. You understand it clearly. You even know the answer. But suddenly you feel rushed. Your brain tells you that silence is dangerous. That if you don't speak immediately, you'll look weak or unconfident. This is where one small phrase changes everything. Let me think for a second. This sentence does something powerful. It slows your thoughts. It removes urgency. It tells the listener that you're present and thinking, not struggling. Calm speakers don't rush their answers. They give themselves space, and this phrase creates that space naturally.
Native speakers use this phrase all the time. They don't feel embarrassed by it. They don't apologize for it. They use it because thinking before speaking is normal. Let me think for a second. I'd probably choose the second option. Nothing feels forced in that sentence. Nothing feels weak. It sounds natural because it reflects how real people speak.
The next phrase is for learners who are afraid of being wrong. You have an idea, you have a thought, but you hesitate because you're not completely sure, and instead of speaking, you stay silent. Here's the phrase that removes that fear. I'm not sure, but I think this sentence gives you freedom. You're not claiming certainty. You're not saying you're right. You're simply sharing a thought. And confident speakers do this constantly. They allow room for uncertainty, and that's why they sound calm.
I'm not sure, but I think the meeting starts at 10. That sentence sounds honest. It sounds relaxed. There's no tension in it, because there's no pressure to be perfect.
Notice something important here. These phrases are not making your English more complex. They're making it lighter. And when English feels lighter, your confidence grows naturally. The next phrases are especially helpful when your sentence breaks, when you forget a word, or when you feel the need to change what you're saying without feeling embarrassed.
Here's a phrase that gives you permission to correct yourself. Actually, what I mean is, native speakers correct themselves all the time. This phrase doesn't signal a mistake. It signals clarity. It tells the listener that you're refining your idea, not failing to express it.
Actually, what I mean is that we should start a bit earlier. That sentence sounds smooth and natural because self-correction is part of real communication.
Another calm phrase that keeps conversations comfortable is very simple, but extremely powerful. That makes sense. You don't always need long responses. Sometimes understanding is more important than speaking. Calm speakers don't over-explain. They respond with intention.
That makes sense. I understand your point. This kind of response keeps conversations flowing without pressure. Many English learners feel nervous when they don't understand something clearly. They worry that asking again will make them sound slow or unskilled. But confident speakers value clarity more than appearance. Can you say that again? This phrase doesn't show weakness. It shows responsibility. It shows that you care about understanding correctly.
Can you say that again? I want to be sure I understand. That sentence sounds polite, calm, and completely normal in real conversation.
There's another phrase that becomes very useful when conversations feel emotionally tense, especially when you're explaining your opinion. I'm just trying to explain. This phrase softens your tone. It lowers resistance. It tells the listener that you're sharing, not attacking.
I'm just trying to explain how I see it. That sentence feels human. It feels gentle. And it helps conversations stay calm instead of defensive.
And now we're coming to the most important phrase of all. This one isn't really about English. It's about freedom when you speak. The final phrase sounds simple, but it changes the way people experience speaking English at a deep level. It's okay if I'm wrong, but this sentence removes the invisible pressure that most learners carry. When you believe you must be correct before you speak, your mind tightens. Your thoughts slow down. Your voice becomes careful and controlled. But when you give yourself permission to be wrong, something opens. Your words come out more naturally. Your tone becomes calmer. And ironically, your English sounds more confident. This phrase doesn't make you weaker. It makes you human. And real communication is always human before it is correct.
It's okay if I'm wrong, but I think we should try a different approach. That sentence doesn't sound unsure. It sounds honest. It sounds relaxed. It sounds like someone who is comfortable expressing themselves without fear. When learners start using this phrase, something interesting happens. They speak more often. They hesitate less. They stop replaying conversations in their head. Because they're no longer trying to protect a perfect image. They're just communicating.
If you look back at all the phrases we've shared today, you'll notice a pattern. None of them are advanced. None of them are impressive. And that's exactly why they work. Calm English is not about complexity. It's about safety. When your mind feels safe, your English flows. When your mind feels threatened, even simple sentences disappear. Most people don't struggle with English because they lack ability. They struggle because every sentence feels like a test. These phrases remove the test. They turn speaking into something normal again.
When you start using calm English, conversations stop feeling like performances. You stop trying to sound fluent. You start sounding real. And real speech is what people connect with. This is how English becomes part of your life instead of something you perform under pressure.
If this episode felt different from typical English lessons, that's intentional. This channel is not about pushing you harder. It's about making English lighter. If you want to speak without fear, without rushing, and without feeling like every sentence must be perfect, subscribe to Learn English with Ease. This channel exists for learners who want confidence before complexity.
And if this video helped you feel calmer about speaking English, stay with us. Every episode here is designed to help you speak more freely, more naturally, and more confidently over time.
English doesn't become easy when you know everything. It becomes easy when you stop being afraid to speak. We'll see you in the next episode.